My daughter's front door was still open when she said it. Her voice cut through the hallway like a slap. "We're not your bank. Get out." For a second, I thought I heard her wrong. I stood there with my small overnight bag in my hand, the kind with soft sides and a broken zipper that never fully closed. I had packed it slowly this morning, folding my nightgown, my cardigan, my pills in a little plastic box, and the photo of my late husband that I kept in my wallet. I had told myself this visit would be simple. A few days with my daughter, warm food, laughing with my grandson, the kind of comfort people promise when you get older. But my daughter's eyes were not warm. They were sharp, hard, like a door locked from the inside. Behind her, Reese stood near the kitchen entrance. My son-in-law, arms crossed. His face was calm, but it was the calm of someone watching a game he thinks he will win. I swallowed and tried to smile, even though my cheeks felt stiff. "Talia, I don't understand," I said. My voice sounded small in the air. She pointed toward the walkway like I was a delivery person who came at the wrong time. "You heard me," she snapped. "We can't do this anymore." I looked past her shoulder, searching for Milo, my grandson. Usually he would come running, shoes untied, hair messy, shouting "Grandma" like I was a surprise gift. I didn't see him. Only the quiet hum of the refrigerator. Only the smell of something fried from last night still sitting in the air. Only my own heartbeat getting louder. "I'm not asking you for money," I said carefully. I thought you said it was okay for me to stay a few nights." Reese made a slow sound in his throat, like he wanted to laugh but didn't want to look rude. He tilted his head, watching Talia like she was doing a good job. Talia threw her hands up. "That's the problem," she said. "You always act like you're not asking, but you are. You come with your sad eyes and your quiet voice, and then you expect us to carry everything." "Everything?" I repeated. She stepped closer, lowering her voice like she was telling me a secret, but her words were still angry. "Food, bills, gas, your medicine, the stress," she said. "We have our own life. We have our own problems." My mouth opened, then closed. I had helped them with groceries before, yes. I had paid for Milo's school trip when Talia said money was tight, and I had even covered a small emergency for Reese's car. But I never said I wanted to live off them. I never planned to be a burden. I had worked my whole life to avoid being anyone's weight. "Talia," I said, trying to keep my voice steady, "I have my own money. I've always had my own money." Her lips twisted. "Oh, please," she said. "That's exactly why you need to leave." My stomach dropped. For a moment, I couldn't even breathe properly. I stared at my daughter, the child I once carried, the little girl whose hair I used to braid before school, the girl who used to hide behind my legs when thunderstorms hit the roof. Now she was looking at me like I was a problem she wanted removed. "Why are you talking like this?" I asked, softer now. "Did I do something? Did someone tell you something?" Reese finally spoke, and his voice, smooth like oil. "Let's not turn this into a drama, Evelyn," he said. "Talia's just being honest. We've been carrying a lot. It's time to set boundaries." Boundaries. That word can sound so clean, so grown up, so fair. But I could smell something dirty under it. I looked at him and then back at Talia. "I raised you," I whispered. "I didn't raise you to throw your mother out like a stranger." Her face tightened and she lifted her chin. "Don't do that," she snapped. "Don't guilt me. You always do that." I blinked. My eyes were burning, but I refused to cry in their doorway. I nodded once, slowly, because my pride was the only thing I could still hold without permission. "Okay," I said. The word tasted like metal. I stepped backward down the small porch steps. My knees felt weak, but I kept my shoulders straight. I walked to my car and opened the door. My hands were shaking so much I almost dropped my keys. When I sat in the driver's seat, I didn't start the engine right away. I just stared at the house. The curtains were half closed. The front light was on, even though it was daytime. The place looked normal from outside, like a regular family home, but inside I had just been erased. I pressed my fingers to my forehead and took a long breath. "Stay calm," I told myself. "Just stay calm." That's when my phone buzzed. One message from Mr. Adrian Cole, my fund manager. My eyes moved over the words once, then again, because my brain did not want to accept them. "Approve their $20,000 monthly allowance?" My throat went dry. 20,000 monthly. Allowance. There. I stared at the screen until the letters blurred. They weren't just pushing me out. They were waiting for something. They were expecting something. And suddenly Talia's words made a new kind of sense. "We're not your bank. Get out." Not your bank. Like they already had a bank. Like the bank was supposed to be me. My chest rose and fell fast. I felt cold, even though the sun was bright outside my windshield. I wiped my eyes quickly, not to be brave, but to see clearly, because something was happening here. Something bigger than a fight, and whatever it was, it had been planned. My finger hovered over the screen. Mr. Cole was waiting for my answer. Somewhere inside that house, my daughter and her husband were waiting too. Maybe not for this text, but for the money behind it. I took one breath, then another, and I typed one word: denied. The moment I hit send, my phone buzzed again. This time, not from Mr. Cole. A new message popped up. It was from Talia, and when I read it, my stomach turned even harder than before. I didn't open Talia's message right away. My finger hovered over the screen, but my body felt stiff, like I was afraid the words could jump out and hit me. I locked my phone and set it face down on the passenger seat. For 1 minute, I just sat there. I listened to the quiet inside my car, the ticking sound of the cooling engine from earlier, the faint noise of birds outside, my own breathing, too fast, too loud. Then I whispered, "Evelyn, think." Because crying would not help me now. Anger would not help me now. I needed my head clear. I turned the key and drove away slowly, like I was afraid the house might chase me down the street. When I reached the end of the road, I looked in the mirror. No one followed. Of course no one followed. They wanted me gone. I drove to a small public park near the library. It was a place I used to bring Talia when she was little. Back then, she loved the swings. She would shout, "Higher, Mom, higher!" And I would push until my arms hurt, laughing like life would stay simple forever. I parked under a tree and finally picked up my phone again. Talia's message was still there. I opened it. "Don't make this difficult. Just go home. We'll talk later." "No, are you okay?" "No. Did you get there safe?" Just instructions, like I was a problem to manage. I stared at the message and felt something settle inside me. Not rage, not sadness. A cold, steady understanding. This was not a moment that came out of nowhere, as this was the end of a long road I kept pretending was not there. I leaned back in my seat, and my mind drifted to the beginning, to the years when Talia still looked at me with softness. When my husband, Harold, was alive, he used to say, "Evelyn, you love with your whole heart. Just don't forget to use your whole brain too." Harold was not a loud man. He didn't talk big, but he was wise. He taught me to save money the way farmers save seeds, little by little, with patience, with care. We didn't have much when we started. We had a small apartment, a used sofa, and old plates from a thrift shop. But we had rules. Rule 1, pay the bills first. Rule 2, save something, even if it's small. Rule 3, don't show off. Over time, the small savings grew. We learned about investments slowly, not the risky kind, the careful kind, the kind that keeps you steady when life tries to shake you. After Harold passed away, I kept those rules like they were a promise. I lived simply. I didn't buy fancy things. I didn't chase attention. I wanted one thing, peace. And I wanted to never be a burden to my child. That was the funny part. I had worked so hard to never need Talia, but somehow, Talia learned to need me. It started small, like most problems do. One evening, years ago, she had called me crying. "Mum, I'm short this month," she said. "Just a little, I'll pay you back. I swear." She sounded scared. I didn't ask too many questions, I just helped, because she was my daughter. Then it happened again, and again. Sometimes it was rent, sometimes it was a car repair, sometimes it was Milo needs a new tablet for school. Each time she made it sound urgent. I say each time she promised it was the last time. At first she said thank you, real thank you, the kind that feels warm. She would send voice notes like, "Mom, you saved us," and I would smile thinking, this is what family does. Then the thank yous got shorter. Then they started coming late. Then one day she didn't say thank you at all. She just said, "Can you send it today because we need it now?" That was when I noticed the change, not just in her words, but in her life. Talia would complain about money, then show up with a brand new bag. She would say, "Mom, we're barely surviving," then post pictures of fancy dinners online. She would sigh and say, "Reese's business is slow." But Reese always seemed to have a new watch, a new jacket, a new plan. I tried to ignore it because I didn't want to think badly of my own child. But my eyes were not blind, and my heart was tired of pretending. The other thing I noticed was how Reese spoke whenever money came up. He didn't ask. He pitched, like a salesman. He would sit at my table and say, "Evelyn, you should enjoy your money. You can't take it with you." I would reply, "That's true, but I can choose where it goes." He would laugh and say, of course, family first." Family first. But he didn't mean love, he meant access. When Milo was around, Reese acted like a warm father. He would joke, toss a ball, smile wide. But when Milo left the room, Reese's face would change. The smile would drop like a mask. Talia changed too, slowly. She became impatient with my questions. If I asked, "What is the money for?" she would say, "Mum, why are you interrogating me?" If I said, I can help, but let's plan," she would snap. "You don't trust me." Trust. That word became their shield. If I wanted details, I was mean. If I wanted time, I was cold. If I wanted respect, I was controlling. So I started doing what many mothers do when they are scared to lose their child. I stayed quiet. I paid. I hoped the storm would pass, but storms don't pass when you keep feeding them. And there was Milo, sweet Milo, with his soft voice and big eyes that noticed too much. Once, when he was about 10, he sat beside me on the couch and said, very carefully, "Grandma, are you rich?" I almost laughed. "Why do you ask that?" He shrugged. "Mum and Dad talk about your money a lot." My smile froze. "What do they say?" I asked, trying to sound normal. Milo looked down at his hands. Mum says you'll help us because you always do." I remembered that sentence now in my car, parked under the tree. Because you always do. That's what they counted on. Not my love. My pattern. I looked at my phone again, at Mr. Cole's message still sitting there in my recent notifications, like a warning sign. Approve their $20,000 monthly allowance? It wasn't just a random question. It was proof that someone had been talking about my money as if it was already theirs. I took a deep breath, then I opened my contacts and scrolled until I found Mr. Cole's number. I didn't call yet. I just stared at it. Because I knew the next step mattered. And for the first time in a long time, I was not going to move with fear. I was going to move with purpose. I whispered, "Harold, if you can see me, give me strength." Then I unlocked my phone again and reread Talia's message. "Don't make this difficult." I looked out through the windshield at the park, at a little girl running with her father, laughing as he chased her. My chest tightened. I used to be that parent. I used to be the safe place. So how did I become the person being pushed out? I picked up my phone and started to type a reply to Talia. Just one line. Calm, simple. But before I could send it, another message popped up. This one wasn't from Talia. It was from a number I didn't recognize, and the first words made my hands go cold. I stared at the unknown number like it was a snake on my seat. The message said, "You should say yes. Don't be stubborn. Family is family." No greeting. No name. Just pressure. My fingers went numb around the phone. So for a moment I couldn't even blink. My mind ran through quick questions one after another. Who had my number? Who knew about the allowance? Who would dare to text me like that? I looked around the park, even though it didn't make sense. People were walking dogs. A man sat on a bench reading. 2 teenagers rode bicycles in circles. No one looked at me. Still, my chest stayed tight. I didn't answer the unknown number. I didn't even type. Instead, I did something I hadn't done in a long time. I acted fast. I clicked the number, then pressed block. My thumb hovered, then hit it firmly. Blocked. Then I turned my phone over in my hand and whispered, "Okay, so this is real." Because one thing was clear now. This wasn't just Talia being rude, this was bigger. This was someone trying to move me like a piece on a board. And I took a long breath, then unlocked my phone again and called Mr. Adrian Cole. He picked up quickly, like he had been waiting. Mrs. Hart, he said, calm and professional. I'm glad you called. Mr. Cole, I said. My voice sounded steadier than I felt. I got your message? Yes, ma'am. I swallowed. I need to ask you something. Who requested that allowance? There was a short pause. Not hesitation. Care. I can't accuse anyone without proof, he said. But the request came through a contact path linked to your family. It looked prepared, like something that had been discussed. My stomach turned. Discussed by who? Your daughter mentioned a new arrangement in a prior conversation, he said carefully. And there were follow-up inquiries from another party who said they were assisting with your daily needs. Daily needs, I repeated. Yes, he said, and they used that phrase. They asked if you would like the transfer to be automatic. Automatic. A word that sounds simple, but it can steal your life if it's in the wrong hands. I never asked for any automatic transfer, I said. I know, he replied. That's why I asked you directly before doing anything. Your instruction is the only one that matters. I stared at the steering wheel, my knuckles pale. Did anyone try to change my contact details? Another pause. There was an attempt, yes. It didn't go through. It failed our verification step. My heart thumped so hard it hurt. An attempt, I whispered. Yes, he said. It was flagged. I closed my eyes for 1 second. I'd just won. My daughter had just thrown me out like trash. And at the same time, someone was trying to reach into my money like it was a jar on a shelf. I opened my eyes again. Mr. Cole, I want my account locked down. No changes unless you speak to me directly. Only me. Understood, he said. We can add extra security, 2-step verification, voice confirmation, and a written instruction on file. Do it, I said. Today? He asked. Right now, I said. His tone stayed calm, but I heard approval underneath it. All right. I'll send you a secure link and a form, but I want to be clear. If anyone pressures you or tries to impersonate you, notify us immediately. Someone already did, I said. He didn't react loudly, he just got quieter. What do you mean? I just received a message from an unknown number, I told him. They told me to say yes. They said, family is family. There was another pause, longer this time. That is concerning, he said. I blocked it, I said. Good, he replied. Please, take a screenshot first if you can. It may matter later. My throat tightened. I hadn't taken a screenshot. I had blocked the number too fast. I didn't, I admitted. I blocked it right away. That's okay, he said. What matters is your safety and your control. We'll focus on that. I nodded, even though he couldn't see me. Then he said, Mrs. Hart, I need to ask, are you currently staying with your daughter? I glanced toward the road. No, I was told to leave. I'm sorry, he said simply. His voice made something in my chest crack, because it was the first time today someone sounded like they actually cared. I'm fine, I lied. Oh, he didn't push. Do you have somewhere safe to go? Yes, I said, thinking quickly. I can go home. I can call my caregiver too. Please do, he said. And one more thing. If your daughter or anyone else contacts me about transfers, I will say I need your direct approval, in person or through our secure system. Thank you, I said. When I ended the call, my hands were still shaking, but my mind was sharper now. I wasn't confused anymore. I wasn't even surprised anymore. I was awake. I started my car and drove toward my home. On the way, I called Nessa, my caregiver. She picked up on the second ring. "Mrs. Hart, are you okay?" Her voice was warm and real. It made my eyes burn again. "I need you to come early today," I said. "And I need you to listen carefully. Something is happening." "I'm on my way," she said at once. No questions first, just action. When I reached my house, I parked in my driveway and sat there for a moment, staring at my front door. My home looked the same as it always did. Small garden, neat porch, a little wind chime that clicked softly. But I didn't feel the same, because now I knew my own family might not be my safe place. Inside, I walked straight to my desk drawer and pulled out a folder. The one Harold and I kept for important things. Account details, legal papers, notes. I hadn't opened it in months. I placed it on the table and opened it slowly. Then I took out my phone and started looking for Ms. Priya Desai's number, my lawyer. My finger hovered over call. I didn't want war. I didn't want revenge. I wanted my life to be mine. Before I pressed it, my phone buzzed again. This time it was Talia. Not a text. A call. Her name lit up my screen like a warning. Talia's name on my screen made my stomach twist. For a moment, I wanted to let it ring until it stopped. I wanted silence. I wanted to pretend I didn't see it, but I had spent too many years avoiding hard moments. So I answered. "Hello," I said. Her voice came through sweet at first, like honey poured over broken glass. "Mum," she said. "Where are you?" I kept my eyes on the folder in front of me. "I'm home." A small pause. Then her tone shifted, just a little. "Why did you leave like that?" I almost laughed, but no sound came out. "Because you told me to get out." "That's not what I meant," she said quickly. "I was upset. You know how things have been. You always pick the worst moment to push." "I didn't push," I said. "I arrived with a bag." "Like you told me I could." Another pause. I could hear breathing on her end, like she was holding herself back from snapping again. Then she said, "Mum, listen. We need to talk, like adults." "We can," I replied. "Good," she said. "So, about the money?" There it was. Not, "Are you safe?" Not, "I'm sorry." Money. My throat went dry, but my voice stayed calm. "What about it?" Talia sighed like I was being difficult. "Reese explained it to you already. We need a steady plan, a monthly allowance. It's not a big deal. It's family." The word family again, like a key that was supposed to unlock my wallet. I looked at Harold's old folder and felt a sharp ache in my chest. If he were here, his eyes would have looked sad, but firm. "Talia," I said, "I did not agree to any allowance." She laughed once, short and fake. "Mum, come on. Don't do this. You always act like we're robbing you. We're not strangers." "I know you're not strangers," I said. "That's why it hurts more." Her voice hardened. "So you're saying no?" "I'm saying I didn't say yes," I replied. "And someone asked for it like it was already decided." Another quiet moment. Then Talia's voice became careful, too careful. "Who asked?" she said. I didn't answer right away because that question told me something important. She was trying to figure out what I knew. I said, "Why does it matter who asked?" "Because," she snapped, then stopped herself and softened again. "Because it's embarrassing, Mum. I don't want outsiders in our business." Outsiders? Like my fund manager was a stranger, not a professional, protecting my account. I took a slow breath. "Talia, my money is my business." "It's family business," she said louder. "No," I said, still calm. "It's my life." Her breath came out sharp. "You're being selfish." That word stung, even though it shouldn't have. How many nights had I skipped comfort so Talia could have it? How many times had I helped without telling anyone? How many times had I forgiven her rude tone because I told myself she was stressed, selfish? I kept my voice steady. "I'm being careful." "Mom," she said, now fully angry again. "You don't understand what we're dealing with." "What are you dealing with?" I asked. "Tell me clearly." Silence. Then she said, "You wouldn't get it." That made my jaw tighten. "Try me." She exhaled loudly. "Reese has business costs. Milo has school stuff. The house, everything is expensive. You think life is cheap just because you live alone and act simple." I stared at the wall in my dining room. My home was neat, quiet, and paid for. Not because life was easy, but because I made careful choices. "I don't act simple," I said. "I live responsibly." "Oh my God," Talia groaned. "See? This is why it's hard to talk to you. You make everything a lesson." I didn't raise my voice. I didn't insult her. I just asked one question, softly. "Talia, did you try to set up a transfer without my permission?" Her breathing changed, just a tiny change, but I heard it. She answered too quickly. "No. Why would you even say that?" "Because someone asked for a monthly allowance like it was ready," I said. "And because I got a message from a number I didn't recognize, telling me to approve it." Her voice went thin. "You're imagining things." "I blocked the number," I said. "But I remember what it said." "Mum," she said sharply, "you're being dramatic." I looked down at my hands. They were trembling again, but I placed them flat on the table until they steadied. "I'm not dramatic," I said. "I'm awake." Another silence, longer this time. Then her voice switched back to sweet, too sweet. "Okay," she said. "Fine. Let's not fight. Just come back tomorrow. We'll talk in person. Reese can explain everything properly." I pictured Reese's calm smile, his folded arms, the way he watched me like I was a puzzle he could solve. "No," I said. "Not tomorrow." Talia's sweetness dropped. "So you're just going to abandon us?" "I'm not abandoning you," I replied. "I'm stepping back until things are honest." "What does that even mean?" she demanded. "It means," I said slowly, "I will not send money because I feel pressured. I will not agree to anything I don't understand, and I will not be spoken to like I'm trash in your doorway." Her breathing was fast now. "Mum." "I love you," I interrupted gently. "But love is not permission." For a second there was nothing but the faint sound of traffic on her end. Then she said, low and angry, "So, that's it. You're choosing your money over your daughter." I felt my eyes sting again, but I didn't let tears win. No, I said quietly. I'm choosing my safety over your anger. I ended the call before she could say more. My hand hovered over my chest. My heart was pounding, not because I felt guilty, but because I felt something new. Relief. Painful relief. Like pulling out a thorn you didn't realize was there. A few minutes later, there was a knock at my door. I flinched, then breathed out when I heard Nessa's voice. "Mrs. Hart, it's me." I opened the door and she stepped in quickly, eyes scanning my face. "You don't look okay," she said. "I'm not," I admitted. She guided me to the chair like I was made of glass. "Tell me what happened." So I did. I told her about the doorway, the words, the allowance message, the unknown number, and Talia's call. Nessa didn't interrupt. She just listened, her mouth tightening more and more. When I finished, she said one simple thing. "We need to protect you." I nodded. Then I reached for my phone again, opened my contacts and found Ms. Priya Desai's number. This time my finger didn't hover. This time I pressed call. Ms. Priya Desai answered on the third ring. "Evelyn Hart," she said, calm and clear. This is Priya." Just hearing her steady voice made my shoulders drop a little, like my body finally believed someone competent was here. "Yes," I said, "it's me. I need help." "Take a breath," she replied. "Tell me what happened. From the beginning, slow." So I did. I told her about Talia's outburst at the door, the words that still burned in my ears, the way Reese stood behind her like a silent referee. I told her about the text from my fund manager asking me to approve a $20,000 monthly allowance, and the strange message from an unknown number telling me to say yes. Priya listened without making a single shocked noise. When I finished, she asked a few simple questions. "Did you sign anything recently?" she asked. "No." "Did you give anyone your account passwords?" she asked. No." "Have you ever given your daughter permission to speak to your fund manager as you?" she asked. "No," I said again, firmer this time. "All right," she said. "Then we treat this as an attempted pressure move, not a mistake." Pressure. My throat tightened. What do I do now? "You do exactly what you're already doing," Priya said. "You stay calm, you make no promises. You keep everything in writing, and you lock down your financial and legal access points." Nessa, who was sitting across from me at the table, nodded like she had been thinking the same thing. Priya continued, "I want you to do 3 things today." "Okay," I said. "First," she said, "call your fund manager back and put a note on your file. No transfers, no changes, no new instructions, unless they come from you through verified steps. And it sounds like he already started that, but we formalize it." "Done," I said. "Second," she said, "we review your key documents, your will, power of attorney, medical directives. If anyone tried to set up an allowance, they might try other things next." My stomach turned again. "Other things like what?" "Like getting control," Priya said simply. "Not just money. Decision-making. Access." I swallowed hard. The word access felt like a hand reaching for my throat. "Third," she said, "I want you to save evidence. Don't argue. Don't accuse, just keep records. If they text you, Screenshot it. If they call you, write down the time and what was said. I felt embarrassed, like I was being told to protect myself from my own child. But embarrassment was a luxury. Safety came first. I understand, I said. Priya's voice softened just a little. Evelyn, are you safe at home? Yes, I said. Nessa is here. Good, she replied. Do not meet your daughter and son-in-law alone right now. If there must be a meeting, it's on neutral ground, with someone present. I looked down at the folder Harold and I kept. My hands hovered over it like it was fragile. Priya, I asked quietly, what if I'm wrong? What if I'm making this bigger than it is? Priya didn't laugh. She didn't scold. She answered like a person who had seen too many families fall apart over small misunderstandings. If you're wrong, she said, then adding security does no harm. But if you're right, ignoring it could cost you everything. I closed my eyes for 1 second, then opened them. Okay, I said. What's the next step with you? I can come by tomorrow, she said. We'll review your documents and update anything that needs updating. But today, I want you to keep your routine normal. Don't let them know you're changing things. Don't let them know, I repeated. Yes, she said. People who push like this often panic when control slips. Panic makes them careless. Careless makes them reveal the truth. That sentence stayed in my head after we ended the call. Panic makes them careless. Careless reveals the truth. I put my phone down and stared at the folder again. Nessa reached across the table and gently slid a cup of water toward me. Drink, she said. I drank, slowly. My throat felt tight like it had been holding back words for years. Then Nessa said, Mrs. Hart, do you want me to stay the night? Part of me wanted to say no to prove I wasn't scared, but pride can get people hurt. Yes, I said. Please. She nodded. Okay, I'll make the guest room ready. When she stood to leave, I opened Harold's folder and began sorting through the papers with careful hands. A list of account numbers, copies of IDs, old handwritten notes from Harold, neat and small. One note, in his handwriting, read, Be kind, but be clear. I pressed my fingers to the paper and felt tears rise again, but I blinked them back. Then my phone buzzed. I didn't pick it up right away. I just stared at it like it was a loaded question. Buzz. Again. I finally picked it up and saw the name. Reese. Not Talia. Reese was calling me. I didn't want to talk to him, not at all. But Priya's words echoed in my mind. Panic makes them careless. I answered. Hello? I said. Reese's voice came through too friendly, too smooth. Like he was calling about a casual dinner. Evelyn, he said. I'm glad you picked up. Listen, there's been a misunderstanding. Talia's been emotional. You know how she gets. I didn't reply. He kept going. We don't want any bad blood. We're family. We just need a plan that works for everyone. A plan, I said quietly. Yes, he replied, brightening. A simple plan. Something structured. That way you don't feel like you're constantly helping, and we don't feel like we're begging. Begging. The word almost made me laugh. Reese had never looked like a man who begged. He looked like a man who expected. I kept my voice steady. What plan? He lowered his voice like he was being wise. The monthly support. It's not even that much compared to what you have. And honestly, it protects you too. Protects me, I repeated. Yes, he said quickly. Because if something happens, we'll be the ones handling things. You'd want that to be smooth. You'd want us stable. My fingers tightened around the phone. So that was it. Not just money. He was talking about handling things. I could almost see him saying it, smiling like a person offering help while grabbing the steering wheel. I'm stable, I said. He chuckled lightly. Of course, of course. I'm just saying life is unpredictable. And you're getting older. Stop, I said. The word came out firm, surprising even me. There was a small pause on his end. Stop talking about me like I'm not here, I said, and stop speaking about my money like it's your plan to manage. His voice cooled by 1 degree, still polite but tighter. Evelyn, no one is managing anything. You're overreacting. I'm not, I said. I'm being clear. He exhaled like I was exhausting him. Okay, then be clear. Are you approving the allowance or not? So direct, so bold, so sure that he deserved an answer. I took a slow breath and remembered Harold's note. Be kind, but be clear. No, I said. I'm not approving anything. Silence. Then Reese spoke again, but his friendly voice was gone now. Evelyn, he said, low, you're making a mistake. I felt cold spread up my arms. A mistake? I repeated. Yes, he said, because you're going to need us. And when you do, remember this moment. My skin prickled. That wasn't a family talk, that was a warning. I didn't shout. I didn't cry. I simply said, Goodbye, Reese, and I ended the call. My hands shook as I set the phone down. Then Nessa returned to the room and saw my face. What did he say? She asked. I swallowed, then told her the truth. Nessa's eyes hardened. They're not asking anymore, she said. They're trying to scare you. I nodded. Then my phone buzzed again. A new message popped up, this time from Mr. Cole. It was short. Mrs. Hart, urgent. Please call me when you can. Someone just tried again. My heart dropped when I read Mr. Cole's message. Someone just tried again. I didn't even think. I pressed call. He answered right away. Mrs. Hart, thank you for calling. What happened? I asked. His voice stayed calm, but I could hear tension underneath. About 10 minutes ago, someone attempted to request a change to your contact information again. They also asked for a standing instruction to be added. It was rejected. I gripped the edge of the table. Standing instruction? Yes, he said, a repeating rule, so money could move automatically each month without a fresh approval each time. My stomach turned, and they tried that after I denied it. Yes, he said, which tells me they were expecting you not to notice or to give up. I glanced at Nessa. She was standing near the doorway, arms crossed, eyes sharp, listening to every word. Did you see who it was? I asked. I can't provide a name without confirming, Mr. Cole said carefully. But the attempt came through an email contact that is not the one you use. It looked like a helper email. A helper email, I repeated, my voice quiet. He continued. They also claimed you were unwell and asked that communication go through family for convenience. My hands went cold. Unwell. Convenience. Those words were like a blanket someone tries to throw over your face so you stop moving. I took a breath. Mr. Cole, I am well. I am speaking to you now. I do not want any family contact on my account. Understood, he said. I'm adding a note, no third-party contact, no exceptions. Also, I recommend you change your email password and enable strong security on your phone. I will, I said. He paused, then added, Mrs. Hart, I don't want to alarm you, but this pattern can sometimes lead to attempts at legal control, not just financial. My throat tightened. Legal control? He chose his words carefully. People sometimes try to position themselves as decision makers, especially if they can argue you are confused or dependent. I felt a slow wave of anger rise in my chest, hot and clean. Dependent? I had built my whole life to avoid that. Thank you, I said, voice firm. I'll handle it. After I ended the call, I sat still, staring at the table as if it could give me answers. Nessa came closer. They tried again? Yes, I said. And they claimed I'm unwell. Nessa's jaw clenched. That's not normal. That's a setup. I nodded once. It's not just about money. No, she said. It's about control. I stood up and walked to my desk. My hands were steadier now. Fear was still there, but it was being pushed aside by something stronger. Purpose. I opened my laptop and started changing passwords. Email first, then bank access, then anything connected to my life. And I turned on every security setting I could find. It took time. It was annoying. But each new step felt like locking a door. Then I printed a simple page that said, No one has permission to act on my behalf without my direct approval. I signed it and placed it in Harold's folder, right at the front. Nessa watched me, quiet. Then she said, Call the lawyer again. I will, I said. But before I called Priya, my phone rang. It was Milo. My grandson's name lit up the screen and my chest tightened in a different way. I answered fast. Milo. His voice was small. Grandma, are you okay? That one question almost broke me. Yes, I said softly. I'm okay. Are you okay? There was a pause. Then he whispered, Mum is mad. Like, really mad. I closed my eyes. Where are you right now? In my room, he said. I locked the door. My heart squeezed. Good, stay there. He sounded like he was trying not to cry. Grandma, did you do something? Dad keeps saying you're being stubborn. I took a slow breath, keeping my voice gentle and simple. Milo, sometimes grown-ups want something they should not take. And when they can't get it, they get angry. Another pause. Is it about money? I didn't want to put heavy words on a child, but Milo was already carrying fear, and lies don't make fear smaller. Yes, I said quietly. It is. Milo sniffed. They keep talking about the allowance. They said you promised it. My throat went tight. I did not promise it. He hesitated, then said something that made my skin prickle. Grandma. I heard Dad tell Mum, if she won't agree, we'll make her agree. I gripped my phone so hard my fingers hurt. Did he say how? I don't know, Milo whispered, but Mum said something like, we'll tell them she can't live alone. For a moment the room felt like it tilted. Tell them she can't live alone. That wasn't a family argument anymore. That sounded like a plan to take my choices away. Milo, I said gently. Listen to me. You are not in trouble. You did nothing wrong. He started breathing fast. I don't want you to go away. I'm not going away, I said. I promise I will call you every day. He whispered. They're coming. I hear them. Okay, I said quickly but softly. Put the phone down. Act normal. If you feel unsafe, go to a neighbor or call emergency help. Do you understand? Yes, he said, voice shaking. I love you, I said.